Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Tamara, and today I am sharing with you my thoughts on the recent Amazon Prime Video release of The Idea of You, which is a romantic comedy starring Anne Hathaway and Nicholas Galanzine. I also will be sharing with you the throwback of the audio where Classy and I discussed this book in 2019. Yes, we read this book long before it was even considered, to be a movie. So we had thoughts. We had lots of thoughts. And I'm going to go ahead and first give you my opinion of the movie and how I experienced that. And no, I did not go back and reread the book. It's been some years, as I said, 2019, but I do remember a lot of it. And I do remember a lot of our thoughts on it because I think we were a little surprised by it. Okay, so just a little info for you. The book, The Idea of You, was written by Robin Lee. It was published June 13th, 2017. And you might also recognize Robin Lee from television. She's been in some movies herself, and she has a very recognizable face if you give her a look up. Let's see, she's been in, let me just pull up her movies right quick. Old School, Deliver Us from Ava. She's been in Hitch. She's been in 50 Shades Darker. She was in Till Death Do Us Part, National Security, Have Plenty, 13 Going on 30, etc., etc. This woman has been in lots of movies. Just look her up. So she wrote this book. It was published. We read it. We had thoughts in 2019. And Amazon Prime TV has released its adaptation. Let's jump into it. So first, let me give my thoughts on the cast. I adore Anne Hathaway. I think I like almost everything she's done. I think they were correct in picking her because in this film, she is 40 years old and she's a young 40, right? She looks great. She's in great shape. She's beautiful. And yet she is a 40-year-old and she plays a 40-year-old. And I think that's honestly really great. She's actually 41 right now and she plays 40 and it was spot on. I feel like she fit Soline's character. From what I remember from the book, I was not surprised to see her. I thought it was a great pairing. Now, Nicholas Galanzine, okay, so let me put it this way. He's fine, right? He's totally fine. He fit the bill. He's tall. He's not what I would swoon over, but many women do. He's got the angles on the face. He's got a somewhat decent voice. And, he did his thing. He was good as Hayes. I wasn't anti, how sometimes you see an adaptation and you're completely thrown. That wasn't the case here. I accepted him as Hayes pretty easily, and I thought that the chemistry between him and Anne Hathaway was pretty good as well. But I have to say something that kind of just jarred me, and this is so random and so out of left field, but why was he dressed like that? And I say dressed like that he was looking like a hobo for the first, I guess, date that they had. Like he was hanging out with her all day. She was showing him her art gallery and then they went and looked at more art offsite and they were hanging out. He straight dressed like, ew, is that how teenagers dress? Well, he wasn't even a teenager. In this film, he is 24 years old. So he's not even a child, but he was dressed so badly. And I mean, my God, wardrobe, what's happening? What is happening with the outfits? I can't. But anyway, he's a 24-year-old boy band singer. And this film delivers all the expected boy band things. You got these young guys singing these pop songs on stage. And it was giving me, the vibes of the boy band. Now, for those of you that don't know, from what I understand, this character is based off of Harry Styles. Apparently, Harry Styles from One Direction loves older women, or did at some point, and this was kind of a fan fiction, I guess, nod to him. I am not a fan of him or One Direction, so I can't name not one song of that band, of that boy band, but I do know some of the songs that he has put out that they play on the radio. I don't own any of his music, but if it shows up on the radio, I'll listen to it, right? So I thought it was really interesting to see like the boy band and like see this 40-year-old woman kind of succumb to the boy band effect, as we watch throughout this film. Anne starts to, or I should call the character's name. So Lynn starts to hang out with Hayes and she goes on tour with the band for a short time. And, at first she's kind of like feeling awkward. Before you know it, she's standing backstage and she's singing the songs and just all into this, touring with a pop band era. She's all in and she's having a great time. And did I believe it? Sure, I believed it. I had a good time with it. I think being that there was a lot of music in this movie, I think the music was okay. Some of it was ultra cheesy. Some of it was a little better, but it definitely was boy band music, right? Boy band pop music. So don't expect too much, right? It's nothing that's heartbreaking or soul wrenching or, even spectacular in something that you would just want to go download on Spotify. Not in my opinion anyway, but it was cute. It was poppy. It fit the tone of the movie. Even though the themes, I have to say that they were pretty typical from an age gap dating situation. She's older. She has a teenage daughter. She's divorced and he has not that much experience with, an established person like that. Although he does have a history of dating older women and, that kind of thing. But he's only 24 and it shows the way he approaches things, the way he speaks to things, his youth shows. And sometimes it's blaring and not in a good way. And I have to say, they did change the ending from the book. And you know me, I love a realistic ending. So that is why I think I like the book ending better. But I understand why they did it for the movie. This is a quote unquote romantic comedy. And in most times with the romance, you get the happily ever after. It's like a requirement, which is, I think, part of the book not delivering what a romance should be. But in this case, it worked in the film, even though it was really unrealistic. And by unrealistic, you don't take that long of a break and just fall back in with someone. Especially someone who is 24, and when you get back with them, they are almost 30 years old. I just can't see it happening, but sure, whatever. So the idea of You, was it a good movie? Sure. Would everyone like it? No. It's fun, though. I think that if you're bored on the weekend, it's the perfect time of year. It's late spring. Things are warm. You have a little bubbly, some rosé, grab some popcorn, sit on your couch and have a good time. It's that kind of movie. Don't, expect too much. Just go into it expecting a fun time and you'll enjoy it a lot more. I know I did. So yeah, I had a good time with it overall. I think I actually enjoyed it a little bit more than the book. And you'll see why in just a few moments when I share the audio from Classy and I discussing this book. And yeah, so that's my 2 cents. The Idea of You is rated for me. I guess I'd give it a 4 out of 5. It was a good time. It was a fun time. And let me know, did you enjoy the movie? Did you not enjoy the movie? Did you like the book? Not like the book? Not read the book? Don't care about it? Let me know all the things. You know where to find me. Be sure to like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Without further ado, check out what me and Classy thought of The Idea of You, the book. Take care, guys. Welcome to Book Chat. Joining me for this month's buddy read is fellow audiobook listener and reviewer Classy Green. Don't miss this discussion of the book The Idea of You by Robin Lee. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Tamara Ford, and thank you for downloading this week's book chat here on the Shelf Addiction Podcast. Every week we get bookish with roundtable book discussions, recommendation list, 5-minute shelf bites, interviews, and more. Subscribe on your podcatcher of choice so that you don't miss out on any of this book nerd awesomeness. Today is another episode of my feature called Buddy Reads. This is where me and a fellow book nerd have a casual conversation about a standalone title. Grab a glass of wine, a cup of tea, or your drink of choice and settle in for this fun discussion. If you'd like to join me on a future Buddy Reads, reach out to me via shelfaddiction.com. As always with book chats, there is a spoiler alert in effect. You've been warned. Hey guys, welcome back. My friend and fellow reviewer Classy Green is joining us again, so I'm going to let her introduce herself before we get started. Welcome, Classy.
Hi, Tamara. Hi, everyone. Classy Green, as Tamara said, fellow book lover, audiobook lover, whatever else you want to call me, lover of books. We could go on,
Yeah.
but just glad to be here to discuss another book and do another buddy read.
Yes, thank you for joining. Okay, guys, we are going to talk about The Idea of You by Robin Lee. And she is an actress. You might can just Google her and find her. She's been in a bunch of things. More notably, recently, the 50 Shades trilogy, right?
Yes.
Yes. So she wrote a book. This book was actually published in 2017. So it's not new, but it's new enough by St. Martin's Griffin. And we are going to talk about that. And I think we both listened to audiobook, right?
Yes. I listened to the audio.
Okay. And she narrated her own audiobook. So we'll talk about that a little bit today as well.
Okay.
So where shall we start? There's so many things, but my notes are kind of scattered all over the place because as I was listening, I'm like jotting down things and they're not in any kind of order. So
Okay. Sounds
good.
like my notes as well.
Yeah. Because there were a lot of notes. And it's funny because before we start officially, I was telling Kevin actually earlier today, we went to get something for dinner and he was asking me what the recording was going to be about. And I said, this book. And he's like, oh, so I started telling him about the book. The funny thing that he got from my conversation about this book, he said, it sounds like you liked it. I said, really?
Oh, really?
That's what he said from what I was telling him about the book. I said, I don't know if that's what I would draw from that, but okay. We'll just roll
Wow.
with it.
I would love to have been in like a fly on the wall to hear what you told him to make, for him to assume that you liked the book. Maybe it
Yeah.
was your tone.
I think I was kind of laughing along with some of it as I was explaining. I was kind of chuckling because some of it was funny.
Oh, you were
But
doing the funny talk?
I was doing the funny talk. I was
You were
doing
doing
it just like Hayes. I was laughing and talking at the same time.
Ah, I can see
So,
where he gets that from.
yeah. So,
Okay. And the reason why I know it seems like we're kind of dry at the moment, but there are so many things to discuss, laugh, be upset about, puzzlement, all that in one probably with this book. Well, from
yeah.
my perspective, I'm not sure about yours.
Yeah, same. And honestly, I think that's one of the main things that I actually liked about the book was that I feel like it took me through the whole full range of emotions. I was laughing, I was annoyed, I was like, what is going on? I was a little shocked, I was a little like, ugh. I got the icky feelings. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cute. I felt like I had everything going on.
Right. Right, because you did. When you said the icky, I was like, I think I did have that icky, uncomfortable, but kind of like, is this right or should I?
Right.
I'm not sure.
Right.
But yeah, I felt the same way. But I like your
Yeah.
icky term better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I forgot to mention, I know I probably said this in the intro, but this is full spoilers. We're not even going to try to hold back because there are things we need to talk about that are going to be spoilers. So if you're listening, I'm going to assume one of two things. Either you're curious about this book and you want to know what it's about. So you've been warned. Or two, you've already read or listened to this book and you want to see what we think about it. So if you disagree with us, please let's talk about it in the comments. Hit us up on the blog post or comment on Spreaker, wherever you are listening to this podcast. And we, both Classy and I, will be here to conversate with you about this book because there's lots to say.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get going. Let's jump right on in. Shall
All
we introduce
right.
people to the characters? Do you want to do that part?
Oh, sure. We
Okay.
have, was it Sol Soline?
So
Solan?
so so Lynn.
Solène Marchand is a 39-something-year-old mom who is taking her daughter Isabel to a concert for a boy band called August Town. Her ex-husband, excuse me, was supposed to take the girls, which Isabel and her friends, but he flaked out at the last minute. So here's Soleil.
So Lynn. So look, there's actually a
Solène.
part in the book where he says how to pronounce her name, and he's like, "Oh, so you mean so lend me some money?" Like, or this,
That's right.
this. Like,
Thank
yeah. So Lynn. Okay, so that actually helped me. So
Thank you. Solène. That is
yeah,
very
thank you.
helpful. I do remember that part, but after reading a few books in between, I forgot how to pronounce it. Solène. That's
Yep.
perfect. Solène, again, has to drop everything that she has to do, like most mothers, and now she's a single mother, to take her daughters to this concert. And she was not happy to do this. Gets to the concert. The girls have backstage passes to meet the boys in the band. As they are backstage, one of the guys catches the eye of Solène and vice versa. Um, I believe the attraction was immediate, but they try to play it off because she realized this is a young man in a band, a pop star. He could not possibly be interested in me. The young man is Hayes Campbell, who is, I believe, the lead singer in the group. Yes, he is the lead singer. He is the founder, if I'm not
Mm-hmm.
mistaken, of the group. And he talks to Solange while the girls are talking to the other band members, taking pictures, eating, and he invites them backstage uh, after the concert. And they strike up a conversation, and the relationship starts from there. Solange's ex-husband, I can't remember his name.
Oh, it doesn't even matter at this
It
point.
doesn't matter. So we'll just talk about, so the main character
Yeah.
is Solange, Hayes, some of the other band members, I believe, like Oliver is like a secondary character, Isabel, which is
Mm-hmm.
her daughter.
Yep.
Um, and I believe, yeah, those might be the main
Yeah.
characters that we're gonna focus on tonight.
Yeah. So okay, let's talk about the biggest, I think, theme going on in this book, and that's the age difference. So, that's smack dab on the back of the book, 39-year-old, person, woman, professional art gallery owner, and a 20-year-old boy band member.
I forgot
Uh,
that key point.
yeah. So that is a whopping 19 years between them. And
Right.
depending on when her birthday is, it's 20 years, depending on the
Right.
birthdays. That's a lot.
That's a that's a whole
That's a
lot.
lot.
That
Yeah.
probably, if I was a single woman, gosh, that's that that age gap is way too big for me. Um, Maybe 10 years, but 20? But again, like you said,
Yeah.
one of the themes here is the ageism. Um, what is it? Was it Miss Robinson, the movie? Or I think I read, wasn't there a movie called The Rebound that was similar to this? Do you remember that with Catherine Zeta-Jones?
Oh, yeah.
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 But again, like you said, it's the ageism. And I think she probably wanted to focus on this topic because she's recently divorced. She still think she's pretty sexy, or maybe Hayes awakens something in her. She thought she was, losing it because her husband is dating a younger woman. I think she may only be 10 years, maybe 15 years younger. So she probably feels, that her sex appeal is gone.
I kind of got okay. I didn't feel that she needed the pick me up. I feel like like when one of the very first scenes, she's running and then she gets to her house and her ex is there and she's like, oh, great, I'm sweaty. And look at his little young, you know, Asian, you know, wife, girlfriend at the time, in the car looking all pretty and I'm sweating here, sitting here sweating. So I don't think obviously she's fit. Obviously she doesn't look 40 years old or 39 years old. I don't think she had any issues as far as insecurities on how she looks, but she has other age issues that kind of surface throughout the book.
So which ones did you think? Because I felt that she thought she was trying to get her sexy back.
Hmm.
Hmm.
See, I didn't get that. I just got that. Okay, so we do know that she does have an issue with the age difference. I mean, it comes up over and over again. She calls him boy, pretty boy. I mean, there's a lot of way. It just keeps reinforcing that she has a hang up on the issue and he
Exactly.
does not.
Right.
Um, and at one point it did come out, well, in 20 years, I'm going to be 60 years old.
Right.
And
And
you're
will that
going to
appeal?
not.
Right. And will that appeal
Yeah.
still be there for you?
Yeah, but I think this was a unique thing to write about because we see the reverse all day long and no one bats an eye, not really.
No.
We see these 60-year-old men with 30-year-old women or sometimes even younger,
Right. And we just
and
consider
no
them
one
fine.
really. Right. Right. So why isn't it okay for her? And I feel like it is okay for her, but it's like two sides of the same coin. Like, okay, it is okay for her, but is it? I think the question comes into play because she has such a young daughter. She has a lot of things going on, like in her life as a professional, that kind of makes this an unlikely pairing. It's just like the stars don't align. And the age has something to do with that. I have a daughter. I own a art gallery. I can't chase you around the world. You're young. You're free. It's fun. Let's keep it fun and light. That was what the intent was when they started, right?
Right.
Let's just have some fun. Let's not worry about it.
Yeah.
I know this isn't going to last because you're too young for me, but I'll roll with it for now.
And I'm going to piggyback on what you just said. I have a young daughter, I have a business, I can't, you know, chase you across the country, but she did. And I think but we'll bookmark that comment, because again, that's probably one of the issues that I have there. Um, but like you were saying, this topic is done on from a male perspective all the time. And I felt the same way, even though her ex-husband is dating someone who's 10 years younger. He didn't have that, I won't call it a trap, but being that father, he can just drop off or say, you know what, we have something to do. He basically made it seem like it was Solen's responsibility to take care of Isabel, regardless of
Mhm.
what happened. He kept throwing in her face, oh, he's so young. He could be, your son's age, but he's not. My daughter
Mhm.
is 12. I was not a young mother, but no one, he wasn't held accountable when it came time to take care of Isabel, except for when her heart was broken when she found out that mom was dating Hayes. And that perspective, I thought, was something that she was trying to address, that, hey, here's a woman, for once in her life, she saw this opportunity to put herself first. even though she had a young daughter, and I think that's what, like you said, she felt like, we're gonna enjoy this while we can. I'm gonna live this life, have fun, and then all of a sudden, reality hit her. Like, whoa, I
Mm-hmm.
have a young daughter. Oh gosh, this is getting serious. And I won't say serious. I think the serious part came in when their relationship became public.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was as serious. Well, she continued to try and make it seem like it wasn't serious. As you said, she kept throwing in the age, you're too young. She kept calling
Well,
him a boy. And I'm like,
in my opinion, it got serious when they stopped using condoms. She was like, okay,
yeah, yeah,
you make a choice. Okay, so Mr. Boy Band, we know you got girls, right? It's falling from the sky all around you everywhere.
yes,
So don't come at me like we're not going to use a condom until, you make a choice.
right. And until you do,
Yeah.
and I don't know, do you think it was, I'm just going to come right out there. Do you think it was seriousness? Well, yeah, maybe. Okay, I was going to say, do you think it was seriousness or just the fact that she just wanted sex without the con?
See, I think that she wanted exclusivity. From her side,
Okay.
she just wanted to make sure that he wasn't doing anyone else but her
Yeah.
for security, right? So
Okay.
you got to secure the goods. That's what I think.
Right. You got to
But
be safe.
he, as a young guy, he thinks, well, if I'm gonna only be with one woman, I think it's serious.
Right. And that's I think what I was trying to pull from you. She was being safe. He thought, I think she really likes me. So, and I think she did later on, but I don't know if she really was concerned about that until her her business partner mentioned it. Remember she said,
See, yeah, I think that she never really trusted him,
right.
right? And I don't think that is an age thing in this case. I mean, honestly, it could be someone my own age that is any kind of celebrity,
Oh,
a
right.
football player, a basketball player, a singer. It's hard to trust those kind of people because of the circumstances that they're in.
Yes. Exactly. And even if you're not in a celebrity status, according to what I'm hearing in the dating world,
Yeah.
it's pretty tough. But yeah, okay. So I can
So I think that's why in my mind, like, yeah, I think primary was the age, but a very close second was, come on, you are a rock star. We are not about to get serious. This is just fun.
right.
This is nothing more. And that's how she visualized that. And that's how she approached it. And I think that was a good idea until things started to turn and she lost control of the situation.
Yes. Because I don't think she realized that Hayes, I want to call him Harry Styles so bad. And I think it's because um, when you visualize him with, the skinniness and all that, I see Harry Styles, but I'll go back. But I think she just thought that Hayes wasn't as mature as he was. I think she thought, like you said, it's just going to be a couple of fun dates. We're going to do this. He's going to move on. He's probably going to start touring somewhere else and is going to totally forget about little old, literally little old me. And
Mhm.
he rocked her world. Uh, I
Yeah, he
think,
did. Yeah, he did. Look, okay, let's just talk about that for a little second.
okay,
Okay. So obviously this book is strongly, it's driven by the lust that they have for each other, right? It's like, oh, fun, exciting, sex with a younger guy. It's so fun. I'm having this time of my life. I'm like, they
adventurous.
was getting it in.
Oh,
They was getting it in. I'm like, what?
oh,
I'm like, is this real? Like, who does this? Somebody somewhere does it, apparently.
yes, because because I think she even mentions, I think I read an interview where she said she was an assistant to, was it New Kids on the Block? So she has some background of working with boy bands. So,
Mhm.
so, so some of this is well, they say life is stranger than fiction. So yeah, some of this is probably based on some reality, maybe not hers, but she's seen this.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, Hayes himself, I mean, just the relationship they had sexually, it was kind of intense.
Oh,
Like, let's just put it that way.
it was.
It was very intense. But and I think that was the driver. Like okay, so I'm trying to remember what it felt like to be 20 years old, right? When sex is involved, emotions start getting involved. I think as you get older, it's easier to separate those two. But when you're young, it's one big ball and it's hard to separate them.
Right.
So when I think about how Hayes acted toward her, as far as, even early on when they were building their relationship and definitely at the end when things were kind of falling apart, he was thinking about that good sex.
Oh God.
The sex was good. That's what he was thinking about. Like he would get over it eventually if he was away from her long enough, but that's what it was. And he was confusing it for love, I think. It was more attraction, and I think he wanted to just, what is the word I'm looking for? He wanted to make her his. That's what he wanted. He wanted kind of like
He was
to say,
clingy. Oh my gosh.
yeah, he was very
Oh,
clingy.
and I believe I think she even mentioned that he had mommy issues. He had the
Yes,
older, the girl who was Oliver's sister, who was 18 when they first
19.
19.
She was 19 and he was 14.
So yeah, so I believe you are right when you say that he doesn't know the difference between love and sex. I mean, at 14, your first time, an older woman who doesn't believe that that's love. And then she walks away, and then here again, and come to find out, Solène and Oliver's sister look very similar. So yeah, I think I agree with you with um, him confusing love and sex, and his emotions got in the way. But yeah, he was becoming very obsessed and possessive. For her birthday, he bought the painting so she could spend, her 40th birthday with him. He just started really doing he was wilding out, as the kids say, at one point.
He was crossing the
Yeah.
line, and as an adult, as the grown up, I thought she would have put her foot down more.
Oh, definitely.
Like that situation that you just mentioned, when he showed up at her job, like she's doing an event, like an art show, and she has to work. He didn't want her to go to work to begin with. He whined and whined, and she's like, respect my job.
Right.
I need to go to work. So she goes to work, and then he still has the gall to show up in the afternoon and to basically bribe her to leave by buying a painting.
Right. And she left.
And she didn't like it. She told him, don't do this. Don't do it. She said several times,
Right.
but he did it anyway. He's like, it's done. And she backed down. I'm like, this is why he runs over you, because you are not even strong willed enough to just like stand your
Wow.
ground. Like, why?
Right.
I don't understand
And
that. And it happens several times throughout the book.
Right, I was gonna say another time that really ticked me off as a mom, when he got upset that she could not go out with him because, again, ex-husband decides, well, but the girlfriend got sick and he couldn't keep Isabel. So now they can't go out on a date. I'm sorry, you're dating a single mom. That comes with the territory. But again, he's 20 years old and he's selfish, and all he thinks about is himself. And I mean, I don't blame him because he doesn't know any better, but you would have thought, and I can't even remember, how long did this relationship last? Over how many months?
It was hard to tell. If I had to guess based on the seasons that had passed, the holidays, the birthdays, I would say probably 9 to 10
Okay.
months, in my opinion. It wasn't a full year.
Right, because I think they kept, I think someone mentioned, like, was it May, December relationship, and I know that deals with the age gap, but yeah, it wasn't that long. So, but you would think that he would respect that she's a single mom. Those type of things happen. The only time he basically respected her relationship as a mom is when he was trying to win Isabel over with the I love your mom. I'm just, you only love me basically for the idea of me, or is that what Solin told the daughter? But yeah, his immaturity showed several times. But again, she was in love with something else besides.
But it's funny because the maturity constantly switched between them. So he was immature as far as how to deal with, her daughter and her ex and even her job. But she was immature as well because, come on, let's keep it real. Why are you stressing out? You are dating a celebrity. You know what that comes with. Why are you acting like you've never seen TMZ before, or you've never seen anything about a celebrity on a gossip site? I mean, you act like you live in a hole and you didn't know that the paparazzi exists. It's shocking to me how dumbfounded she was acting when her life turned into a hot mess, but yet you're going around doing things in public. Just, I don't understand that. Like, you are just so naive. I understand being caught off guard, but it just seemed just too much for me. I know, Classy, you had a topic you wanted to make sure we hit with this conversation. What is that?
Robin Lee is a Black author, and the characters in this book are all white characters. Well, I believe except for her business partner. So I was just curious as to why would a Black author write a story with white characters. I know the reverse happens where you have white authors who, write or try to write from a Black perspective, but I don't think I've ever read anything done this way. Have you?
No, this is my first time, especially since it wasn't multicultural where you have a whole bunch of different types of people in it. I've seen that before, but not where it seemed like just a whole like cast. And I don't even remember what her business partner was, to be honest.
I thought she was African, but again, she could have been a white South African or, you know what I mean? But the name and the accent, you know, and I was going by the accent and the intonation of the narrator, which was Robin, that she was possibly a Black woman. And I think
Okay.
she may have mentioned something that gave the idea that she was a Black woman, maybe skin tone or headdress or something. I can't remember. But that, I was very curious as to why she did that. When I first saw the cover of the book, I thought, okay, maybe she's a biracial woman. Because many times when you do a cover of a book, you try to have that match the storyline. So I was waiting and waiting, to hear characterizations of a Black woman, a biracial woman, but no, none. Isabel,
Yeah.
blonde, blue eyes, I believe. If not blonde, she definitely had blue eyes. Um, Solène was a white woman, a
Mm-hmm.
French white woman. And I really thought that was strange because Robin is a Haitian woman. And I believe some Haitians, I believe they speak French. Um, so I was just wondering, like, why didn't you go that route? It could have been a biracial or a interracial, excuse me, a interracial May December relationship. I think that would have been a beautiful thing.
I think so too. And I do wonder, like, what would motivate you not to include, you know, any person of color in one of the major roles? That does seem a little odd.
Right. And she's married to a white man, which I thought, why not go with even, your relationship or you not, I won't say your relationship, but oh my gosh, no pun intended, but the idea of your relationship, but with a younger man. and I've read some of her interviews, and she said the storyline came from she told her husband, "I'm going to leave you for a boy in a band." Perfect. A black
Mm-hmm.
woman telling her white husband, "I'm leaving you for a younger man," basically. Why not
Mm-hmm.
use that story? Uh, all I could think of, and I hate saying this, is selling the book.
Well,
I'm
look at
still
the cover. Okay, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. The cover art. I don't know if this is the second iteration of the cover, but I know the cover that I'm looking at now, it has, a very nice looking, Caucasian woman in a profile with sunglasses on.
okay.
Is that the
That's
cover
one
you're
cover.
looking at?
I've seen that cover. Right. And in the sunglasses, you can see the image of Hayes, I guess, and his little skinny legs in the open guitar case. Do you see that?
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They have that cover, and then the other cover is a picture of another Caucasian woman looking in profile.
Yeah.
No sunglasses, just, long hair. And
Oh,
in
I
and
see it right now. Yeah.
right, and that's the one that I had saw originally, and I thought, okay, maybe she's a biracial woman. Maybe she's just a
Yeah.
lighter biracial woman. So, and I mean, my first hearing of this book came from Essence magazine. I
Hmm.
remember when it came out, Essence has a section where they talk about, books you should read or new books or, to let you know what's coming out. And it said Robin Lee, The Idea of You, and it had that cover. So it's Essence magazine. So I knew it was Robin. It was a black woman. She starred in Deliver Me from Eva, trying to think what else, Hitch. These are all probably, what's the name of the book? 50 Shades when it
Mm-hmm.
came out. So I'm like, okay, a black woman. And I tagged her under my TBR, going to be supportive. Didn't think anything of it. Even when I read the reviews and even when I uh, heard about her fan base on Facebook and her group, I'm still thinking black woman, there's got to be someone black in this book. And I don't think it took long before um we realized that it was a white woman, a white man, white children, everyone was white. So, yeah.
So, do you think it's as simple as this? So, while we were, talking right now, I found this article. Well, not article, it is a post on Lipstick Alley. And it says, "Do you side eye Black authors who write majority white characters?" That is the question asked to the community.
Hmm.
And I'm going to link this in the show notes if anybody is interested in reading this trail of, comments or whatever. So you know what we're talking about. But basically, I feel like some people don't have a problem with it and some people do. And some people think it's as simple as they're there to make money and they know that they will make the money with the white characters on the cover and in the book. Do you think it's as simple as that? Like she pitched, let's just pretend this is totally hearsay. I have no idea what conversation, but let's just imagine you say, "Hey, I got a great book idea. Okay, let's hear it." You pitch it and you're like, "Well, you know what? We like it, but we probably could sell this better if you made these changes." It can be as simple as that.
Right. And after following some people on Twitter, this happens more often than not. I've even seen some YA books who that was kind of indistinct of if it was a black character or not with the cover art because they know, regardless, once you buy the book, that's a sale. Um, and I wonder too with this, and then Robin is a very common name, I would say, maybe even the
Mm-hmm.
spelling two N's. It doesn't, iterate I'm a black woman or not. It's Robin Lee. And
Right.
I'm not sure, but I mean, it was a good story regardless, but as a black woman, who wants to be supportive and wants to see more romance, even though I'm not
Yes.
sure this book would be considered romance. Because I even saw something where she said it really wasn't romance. She kind of considered it women's fiction with a twist to it. Um, yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Well,
that's what
Goodreads
she
considers it romance.
said. Hmm?
Goodreads considers it romance.
She said it wasn't traditional romance, but it was more of,
Oh, just because it didn't have a happily ever after?
I believe that's what she calls that twist or that literary bent in the story. But I was a little disappointed with the characters because I read plenty of romance books that I believe. Okay, let's be real, like you said. Let's just put it out there. Come at me if you want to. There's plenty of romance books out here written by white women that I can pick up any day. There's plenty. There's more than enough. I was just looking for someone I can identify with. And not to say I
Mhm.
can't identify with this older woman.
I can't. I can't. I'm keeping it very real. I cannot, and that's part of my problem is I could not empathize with her on anything. I definitely couldn't sympathize at all.
She was a little
Yes, I agree with look, this woman has money. She's very wealthy. Her parents are French. She was raised in a French way. I'm not bilingual. I definitely am not European in any way. Um, so
well
I agree
traveled,
with
well
you. I'd like to,
thing.
yeah, I'd like to see myself reflected in what I read when I'm reading an author that looks like me. Not that every single character needs to be black. No, I like, honestly, one of my favorite fantasy series, I think I've told you about this series before, was the LA Bank series. That had a huge multicultural cast. We had some Latin flair, we had some white people, we had some black people. I appreciate where it's a colorful cast. I mean, I at least just want one main character,
Yeah,
if you're a black person writing the book, to look like you do.
exactly. And I was hanging on for dear life. I'm not kidding. I'm just going to be real. I was just waiting for, okay, is somebody going to be black? Is one of the guys in the band going to be? I mean, just holding on by a string. And no one, except, like I said, I believe it was her business partner. But, like you were saying, to relate to someone, let's go to, and I know we're talking about the idea you, but Alyssa Cole does an excellent job of the interracial relationship where usually the main character is a black woman and the male character is, white, Scottish, whatever, European or, European American, whatever you want to call them. But she does an excellent job of blending those two. But in those books, I can relate because I'm a black woman and her black women in her books are black women. They are, and I'm not saying stereotypical, but you recognize that this is a black woman. I don't have to guess. Her cover art shows it.
Yeah.
The storyline, the everything, their dialogue, um, just it just exudes. I can tell this is a black woman, and like we said earlier, I could pick up probably 9 times out of 10, I can find a romance book with a white woman and possibly a younger man, maybe not Hayes Young, but I can find this story somewhere else, and I would have really enjoyed this from a black woman's perspective. Hayes could be still white, but or whatever. I needed someone black in this book, and key point, one of the main characters to be black, um, and especially as a black writer. Um, and maybe she had to make sales. I'm not sure, but
Well,
it
let's
did
let's
rub me.
look at this. I don't want to presume to know about sales, but this was published June 13th, 2017. And as of, our recording date, it is February 2019. It will air, I think, in March when you guys are hearing this. There are 4,068 ratings on Goodreads. So it's not like there are 100,000 ratings like some of the big books, right? We know we've seen some huge ratings numbers on Goodreads.
Right.
So I don't know what that means exactly. But I agree with you. I think it would have added an additional layer that I could relate to. Maybe I could have felt a different way about Solin if she were Black or interracial or something.
Yeah.
Versus not. I mean, because even if, let's think of it like high level, even if you come from money and you're part French and you have all these things, if you are Black, guess what? We still have something in common because you still deal with being Black. So there's that.
Yes. And I think it would have brought another layer to the whole relationship thing too. This could have been, I won't say better, but just
So
another
much more
layer.
deep,
Yeah.
more deep.
Yeah, it would have,
Yeah.
between, the celebrity, the age, the color, the race, the racism, or the bigotry or whatever within this story. I think it could have been even uh, deeper than what it was, but I, I'm not sure.
Because okay, how I feel about it. And I feel like there were opportunities missed in this book, which is part of my problem with the book. So we talked about, not having any representation or not enough Black representation in the book. That was a thing which made our main character not as relatable to a lot of, people of color who are reading her book. But I feel like it would, we said would add more depth, which it would, because it was missing. Like she missed opportunities to talk about the stuff that was going on with, oh boy, what's his name? Why am I forgetting his name that fast? What's his name?
Hayes?
The little boy. Hayes, yes. So
You sound like so big.
yeah, the little boy, right? That's how I think of him. So, I mean, we know he had issues, right? We know that he had mommy issues. We know that he had sex at a very young age with an inappropriate aged person.
Right.
And I personally feel like a 14-year-old cannot give consent. That is how I feel.
No.
I don't care what the boy says.
No.
You are 19. He is 14. He cannot give consent. He has a hang up because of that.
Yes, he does.
He seeks out older women. Yes, he seeks out older women that have a specific look, that look like that woman that he slept with back when he was 14 years old.
Right.
There was an opportunity for him to address that and learn from it and deal with that. We even saw, Penelope or whatever her name is on the page for a little bit, but it was just like, oh, there she is and it's gone, brush it off.
Right.
We had opportunities for him to deal with this head on when his friend Oliver act crazy. He went like, what are you doing?
Right.
So they got in a fight.
Under the rug. They just had a little fight, a little tiff, and we're
Yes.
best friends again. And
Yes.
I realize that boys are, boys are not as petty, or they don't hold on to grudges, but apparently Oliver did. But that little fight, and then you're back to being the same way you were, and this was what, 5 years ago, and then the issue with the fan who tried to kill herself. And
Right, but wait, let's go back. Wait, so Oliver. Wait, let me finish with Oliver before we talk about that fan. So there was some tone there that maybe Oliver was very jealous of the women he was with. That there was an undertone for me that made me wonder if Oliver liked him like that.
You too? I saw that
Yeah,
too, because even so Lynn saw it. She kept
yeah,
referring to it like, so who do you like? Do you like me, or do you like Hayes? And I think it was just a matter of him hitting on Solène to make Hayes jealous. I don't think he had a thing at
right.
all for Solène. Not at all.
Or any of the other girls he picked up and tried to steal from him. He was trying to make him jealous.
Right.
So that was another thing that they could have, the author could have dug into a little bit to make Hayes grow as a character. I mean, he could have, that time apart at the end there, that initial time apart, he could have said, "Oh, I've dealt with some of my issues and I'm doing this and I'm grown up and I feel like, the hangups that you had about me just liking you because you look like this, that's gone now." But she didn't choose to address that at all. It's just done. After the break, we'll finish discussing the idea of you. We'll also give our individual ratings. Stay with us. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item.
And going back with the Oliver and Hayes bit, didn't she even ask Hayes what went on between you two?
She did, and he never said.
Right. I think he danced around it and changed the subject, or the chapter changed or something.
He said that's not his business to tell or something.
Right. So that's obvious that something did happen.
My guess is that Oliver hit on him and he wasn't about it.
Okay.
And then when Oliver found out that he had slept with his sister, he's like, "Oh, she's good enough for you, but
I'm not.
You won't." Right.
Okay.
That's what it was. But there was huge plot opportunities missed by just skating over that.
Yeah. And some of that could have been addressed instead of the repetition of the sex scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because some of the sex scenes, it was just the same sex scenes, different city, different country. But yeah. And you're right. The story could have been much more layered and more interesting. And because it was at one point, it was just sex, but it was just the same sex, but it was sex here, sex in elevator, blah, blah, blah. But
yeah, obviously we all know what Hayes likes to do because it's all up in through that book.
Oh gosh. And she didn't mind serving.
Look, if I had to hear, I should have counted how many times I heard post-coital gum.
Yes.
Post-coital cuddling.
Yes.
I'm like, good Lord. Okay. We understand that it's post-sex. We know. We know.
And some of the commentary, and I get it that he was a younger man and she tried to make it seem how young he was, but the funny talk or the laughing talk, that got on my nerve because it was just a lot. And between that and hi. I know at one point I was like, really?
Oh God.
Do that? Because that right there would have woke me up out of my boy toy, sexual, whatever was going on, woke me up like, lady, you are messing with a kid.
And and that shows, like, okay, so how we were saying earlier, like the maturity flips, but for him, he is very mature in the bedroom. And again, this leads to his experiences having sex with an older woman when he was a child.
Yes.
So he's very mature in the bedroom. He knows all the things to do. And she's even said that, like, wow, he's got like stamina. He can go again. He is not like, oh, let me hurry up like most little kids, most little younger men are.
Right.
I mean, he's going.
Right.
Right. So he's very mature in that way, but then they're doing this conversation where they can't have a real conversation. And he's very, like, he has a temperament that's like really young. So it's very strange.
Yeah. And now that I think about it, those little clingy moments and buying her for the birthday, those were temper tantrums, flat out.
Yeah.
No other term but a temper tantrum. But yeah, she missed a lot of opportunities, or like I said, the sex was just so good. Maybe that's what she was trying to let us know. The sex can be so good that you can be blind to the fact that you are dating a baby.
Yes. And you know what? I would say that is a true statement for young people, but by the time you're freaking 40 years old, you should know better.
Okay, I'm trying to control my laughter because I just really want to laugh so loud there.
I'm sorry. Like, dude, okay. I understand how nice some men look. Because let me tell you, we're gonna keep it real up in this. We're gonna keep it real on this show today. You look at guys on TV, you be like, dang, he fine. And then you look him up on IMDb, you be like, oh wait, you're 25 years old. Oh hell no. Nope, 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 done. Nope, can't do it. Cannot even fantasize because you're a child.
There's
Your child.
and I open up Instagram and Michael B. Jordan is there, and I I mean, like right now, I pause. I told my daughter, I said, he is so beautiful that I know I pause every time I see him. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, you are a
Mm-hmm.
but again, like you said, then you realize you're a little boy. That you
Yeah.
probably should be with someone on your level. So 20 years,
He is fine too. But he was born in 1987. There's no way.
yes,
No way.
yeah, he couldn't be my child. I mean, but he's not that far off from this.
But guess what? He's not too young for me, though. He's not too young for me.
All right now, Tamara. I'll let
Under
you
10
take,
years, man. Under 10 years.
I'll let you have Mike. Right. I think 10 years for me would be the cut. I'll let you have Michael. I'll just dream. Which is what Solan probably should have done. Or, better yet, get your little fling on and keep it moving, lady. And she knew she should have cut this off way sooner. She should have cut it off. What, lunch? What? And that was the one comment. This should have been lunch. How many times was that said?
Yeah. It was just supposed to be lunch.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I mean, in another topic, did you really think there was any real drama in this book? Or was it just a fling, just a terrible fling that was out of control? But I mean, I didn't really see drama besides
No.
Isabel. That hurt my heart because that baby, she was young. And, her heart, what she saw was, I love this boy band and I do love this boy band. Because nobody could tell me I didn't love Ralph Tresvant. I'm sorry. From New Edition.
Girl, right.
Tell me that I wasn't Candy Girl.
Girl, look for me. Look, we used to love us some Jodeci and Boyz II Men now.
Mm,
Love my mama had dated like Devontae or something. I would have died. I would have died. It would have been over.
right.
As a 13-year-old, I would have been like crying.
Yeah.
Like she is. Like,
Down
are you
south.
serious?
Please.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't really see too much real drama in the story. It was repetitive to me. Um, yeah. Like I said, the only drama was that, and maybe did they ever find out who wrote the letters to her?
no. I mean, no, there was no point. It was just another piece of drama, like made up drama, as I like to say,
Yep.
just to throw it in there for extra little oomph.
Yeah.
Um, because there wasn't any other drama.
No.
So the whole book, in my opinion, I mean, she kept saying it so many times over and over again. Any little thing would happen, and she's like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Any and so it's like from the beginning, she knew it wouldn't last. So the whole time, I was just waiting for the shoe to drop. And clearly so was Hayes.
Right.
He's like, you're not gonna leave me. You're not gonna leave. I mean, this entire time, like, why even do it? It's like you couldn't even fully invest yourself because he looked at a model, right? He's talking to a model. Why am I doing this?
Right. You
Oh,
could tell
he's
just
doing
by
this.
that look if he had sex with her.
Yeah. Like, I ran into your ex. Oh my God, why am I doing this? It was just, she was very immature in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Why do it at all?
Right.
Why do it at all? Like, you pulled that little boy in again.
Yes. And that's why I believe the sexism part with her that, here she's coming across all these ladies that he has had sex with and they were younger and they were gonna always be younger than her. And because she was the oldest that he ever slept with. So she was just driving herself crazy. She should have just got the D and kept it moving. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I mean, even in the end, I feel like she's very selfish because So the little boy, he's been gone, and I keep calling him a little boy because in my mind, that is how I feel like he is. So he couldn't even drink until like the second half of this book, like legally, he couldn't even drink. So like at the end there, so they had stopped talking for a while, and then he comes back. He tries to make this grand gesture, and she lets him in. And what does she do? She sleeps with him. I'm like,
Everybody knows when you break up.
right.
No. Mm-mm.
She does it, and then it's like he's crying like a freaking baby. And I'm like, I can't
Yeah.
right now with the both of you.
Yeah.
Just cut this out. I felt like that. I felt no sympathy at that point.
No, this is not Romeo and Juliet. I'm sorry.
No.
No. You are a grown, I wanted to say you are a grown ass woman.
Yeah.
Put your big girl panties on.
Yep.
Your baby is not your baby is comforting you.
Yes. She missed his, body parts so much.
Mm.
She hadn't had any in weeks since she'd seen him last. So of course. And he said to her, you're confusing. You said no. And she's like, well, I changed my mind.
Yeah, that part.
So he's like, oh, so it's no if I'm not already here. But if I'm already here, then it's yes. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, okay, well, I'm not leaving.
Damn right, I wouldn't either.
Oh my gosh. And then all of a sudden she's like, get out. You've got to go.
And we go back to how mature he was. He knew.
Yeah.
He knew the game. He knew exactly what he was doing. So
Yeah. These characters, I can't.
And the funny thing, Tamara, about this is that everybody, they were just so, when I read the reviews or when I heard this podcast, everybody was, oh, Hayes, oh, gosh, oh, Celine. I was more like, I just want to shake her. There were times I just wanted to shake her. Woman, you've been married before. You've gone through some of this. Granted, it's been a long time since you had a young, viral, strong man. I won't even say strong. He was tiny, but strong. But
oh no, he's strong. He was tall because remember she even said, "Oh man, my husband never picked me up like this. We never had sex like this."
Right. She did say.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did say that.
Yep.
So yeah, he turned her out. He basically
he did.
He turned her out, and her eye just went to mush. And you know what though? I think I would have accepted it more that way. She got turned out. She lost her damn mind. And I won't say like she just went crazy, but she started doing foolish stuff. But she went with the grandiose. I'm so sophisticated. I'm this, and that. Nah, baby, you just got turned out by a little young boy. Let's get.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, and I think the more we talk about it again, which is what happens when we do these podcasts. I start off one way, but the more we talk, I find something else. That grandiose, pretentious manner of hers, I think if she would have just broke that barrier and just said, I got turned out. This little young boy has made me do things that I thought I would never do. He's got me, flying to this country. I'm doing this, and that. I've basically forgotten my daughter. My daughter, who I knew could possibly be starting a period soon, I just totally forgot about her. Oh yeah, I never had time before for her, but now I got all this time for this young man. And even though it was implied, I think if she would have broke down some of those barriers of, her grandioseness, or her highfalutin, is that how they say it? Highfalutin. That kind of manner that she had, because he broke her down to a point where she was a groupie. She was
primal. Like she was doing.
Thank you.
Like not for nothing. She was doing all kind of stuff, and it didn't take a lot to convince her at all.
No, but the more we think about it, she had been primal before, because there's no way some of the things that she did at lunch that she had.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think
And don't get me going on what dessert is. I'm like, good
Girl,
Lord,
he just
girl.
unleashed the dragon, that's all. He just unleashed the dragon.
Like what's happening right now, for the love of God? And she just says it's so casual, like, oh, it's XYZ dessert, or what is that? Is that dinner? He's like, no, that's dessert. She like, oh, okay. I'm like, what?
He said, "You're nasty." And did she say, "No, I'm not"?
No. She like, yeah, and
It was like, and that's what I was saying. Like he woke something up in her that was already there, but she tried.
yep.
But we're supposed to pretend like she's this, and she is. I mean, and not to say that she's not an art curator or whatever, a businesswoman, and this, and that. But you're a freak too, Celine. Let's get real,
Mm-hmm.
Celine. You're
Oh, she a big freak. I mean, she a big freak. Let's keep it real. And that's probably a little bit why he liked her so much, because she would just do
she was
anything.
uninhibited. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
No hate, no hate. I am not judging. If that's what you want to do, you do you.
No,
But
not at all.
don't, not to the point where it makes you stupid. Don't be stupid.
No. Well, and I think the stupidity, I don't even care about you being stupid, as long as you're not hurting babies, puppies, and old people. But anywho, but she had a
Mm-hmm.
child. I think that was the thing. And I get the stupidity, but when you're in love and it's between two consensual adults, fine. But she had a child. And once her daughter was put into play with, the YouTube videos and the hate letters and the looks, then it becomes wake the hell up. And she didn't wake the
Yeah.
hell up until the end.
Until the daughter, I feel like it had to get extreme. Like the daughter was really hiding a lot of what was happening from her. And it finally just all tumbled out. Like the last straw was her classmates asking her to get a deep pic
Right,
and bring it to school.
right.
That was the last straw. She was like, I cannot do this
No,
anymore. I'm going to tell you what's going on. And I'm sorry, I cannot ignore it.
right. And you could just
Yeah.
imagine the mental stress that that girl had to go through. But and I get it. Her mom was putting herself first. But regardless,
But not even just that, though. The daughter wanted her to be happy. She's like, I know dad's moved on. He's happy. I want you to be happy. She wanted that for her eventually, because she just didn't want her to be alone.
yeah,
But she's like, and that's the big thing for a child to take on.
it is.
But she admitted, she's like, I just could not handle it anymore.
No, because she
Sorry.
was making very
Yeah.
unwise decisions. In the elevator they had pictures. On the yacht they had pictures. Well, I didn't think, babe, girl, you're come on now. You're not
Girl,
new
like,
to.
this is
I know you've
right.
seen Inquirer. I know you've seen all the gossip blogs. You're gonna tell me, just because you're out in the ocean, that you guys could do that, and they don't have long lens cameras to take pictures.
Right.
Those were some of the things, like, come on.
Not in today's day and age. There's no way. There's no way.
I'm
Yeah.
just thinking, even for myself, I'm not a celebrity. And if I was having an affair and I was, you know what I mean? Or I won't even say married, but having an affair with a man, and I'm a single mom, I'm protecting my child, or whatever I'm doing from every aspect because of the ridicule.
Look, let me just tell you, I don't care if I'm out there on that boat with my husband.
Right.
We gonna go inside,
Thank you.
okay? Because I don't want to see my face on YouTube somewhere,
Mhm.
okay? We gonna go inside.
Right.
That's it. Because you just don't know what's out there.
No, exactly. So here you are with a pop star. I think that was another one of my frustrations. You're with a pop star. You're being watched from every angle, and you're allowing this, just make it stupid. Again, she got turned out. She lost her mind. She saw what head
Oh my
second. She blanked out for a minute.
I didn't know a 40-year-old could get turned out. Like,
Mm,
I understand being turned out, because I think we all kind of had that experience when we were younger and we were like discovering, you're like, oh, snap, this is fabulous. But I just can't imagine being turned out at 40 years old. That just doesn't even make
I can
sense to
think
me. But I guess it's possible.
I mean, I'm assuming that her ex-husband was probably not that great. That's all I could think of. She didn't have too
Girl.
many other boyfriends, am I right?
No, she didn't have a lot of
Yeah.
boyfriends.
Right, because I think she said here she is dating like the prom king, or and she never even had a prom date or something. So her ex-husband probably was a prude, and then he hit
Yeah.
his midlife crisis and left her. That's all I can assume from
Yeah.
this book, but I digress.
Yeah. Ugh, gosh. I feel like we have talked a lot about the things, all the things in this book. And I know there's a lot more to cover, but we're over an hour.
Okay,
So I
want to
think
talk
we
about
should
the
wrap it up.
narration really quick or no?
Let's talk about the narration real fast and then we'll wrap up with our rating. So, this book was narrated by the author herself. And like we've been honest this whole hour, we're just going to let it hang out. I feel like that was a mistake. I feel that she should have gotten a professional narrator because I don't think I liked her voice for these characters.
No. Her voice was too low. There were times, well, I won't even say there were times. I had to turn my volume up to the loudest on my phone and in the car because I could not hear her. She was just so quiet. Um, I think she did her accents well, but again, I'm not an expert on British accents or French accents. But I do think she could have um, gotten someone professional because at one point it was like it was monotone. Everything was at the same um, level, even Hayes, except for the laughter and the British accent. But everything,
Oh God.
I'm sorry, sorry, I'm sorry I said that again. I'm sorry. But yeah,
No,
everything,
don't apologize. Don't apologize because let's talk about the laughter, okay?
yeah, but
Let's talk
it
about
was
it.
a lot. And
He You guys, if you haven't heard the audio, Hayes's character does this laughing talk. So he'll say, I don't know, the sky is blue. So he'll be like, the sky is blue. It's like
uh,
people laugh and talk at the same time, like every
like a
time.
teen,
And it's like, yeah, yeah. Maybe that's how she was expressing him as being young, but that just did not. I mean, they're talking about intimate things, and he's like, "Oh, don't make me laugh, ha ha ha." But okay, let's do it. I'm like, what?
right?
Oh
Yeah,
God, oh
yeah, and I think that probably played into the to part where I lost it a few times. Like he's a little boy. Why are you laughing, little
yeah,
boy? We're about to get serious here, and you're trying to offer me gum, or you're trying to
yeah,
offer me what? Oh, you wanted a cigarette. So,
yeah.
but yeah, I agree. She could have used a. I'm sorry. She could have used a better
And
narrator.
her voice. I mean, I agree with your monotone assessment because some of the stuff that was going on should have been okay. So you know how I like to give a little headphones warning, or if it was headphones free. You do need headphones for this book, but there was nothing that would have triggered you to want to turn down the volume. So unless you were just like listening and you knew, okay, this is going to be a sex scene, like the voice didn't really change that much, the pitch didn't change that
Right,
much. Like sometimes when you hear something, you're like, "Oh snap, they about to you hurry up and turn the volume down,
right.
right?" Because you know what, everyone to hear what's going on.
Couldn't
That
tell.
didn't happen. I mean, I was reading listening to this thing, and I fell asleep. I fell asleep.
See, yeah. I know at one point I was trying to finish the book, and I was on a drive to. It was probably like a 45-minute drive, and I started getting like into a hypnotic state, and I was like, okay. So I couldn't listen to it in the car for it. You know how you could listen to certain books on a long ride? This was not a long ride book. This is a book you could probably listen to maybe getting ready for work. Please do not listen to it on your way to sleep.
No, because you will
Fall
fall
asleep.
asleep. You
Yeah,
will.
her voice, she has a very soft voice. And I believe for this book, she needed a little more oomph. I'm not sure who I would pick to do this book, but especially with some of the sex scenes, she could have been a little more riled up, like you said, so I could know,
Yeah.
you're going to pick up the tone, or, there were times I couldn't, like you said, I couldn't tell the climax. I couldn't tell something good was about to happen. Even when the band was in concert, no type of excitement. Granted, I know she didn't like
Yeah.
noise, but they're performing.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So obviously, we don't recommend this on audiobook.
No.
Definitely read it. I think you might get more enjoyment out of it if you just put your own voice in your head to the
I
page
felt like that
versus
after
listening.
listening. I did feel that.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, let's do the ratings. Let's just, get at it. Classy, what's your rating?
Let's pull back the tape. I would give it a 3. It was okay. I didn't hate it, so I'll say 3. 3 books out of 5.
Alrighty. I'm going to go with a 2 out of 5.
Ooh.
I had originally had 3 in my mind. I was kind of like wavering. We don't do halves here. So, I was originally like at 2.5. But since we don't do halves, I was like, well, maybe I'll round up. And then we started talking.
Okay.
And by the end of this conversation, I decided to round down. Coming into this discussion, I wholeheartedly thought I was going to say 3.
Well, Kevin was going to say 3 or 4.
Yeah, he thought I liked it. But I think, like I said earlier, I was laughing. And it wasn't as in, oh, it was funny. It was in, oh, it was ridiculous. I was laughing.
Yeah.
So, not in the best way. So, but yeah, I didn't hate it. But this is one of those books where it's not for everyone. It's not something that I would definitely recommend to people, unless you already like these kind of books. There was so much more that could have been done plot-wise with the characters, character growth and development. Like we mentioned, opportunities missed. And the more I thought about those, it really affected which direction I went on that half. So, unfortunately, for me, it's just going to have to be a 2. I know there are people out there that love this book. And if you're one of those, don't hate on me too bad. Just let me know why you loved it. Don't come for us.
Let's talk in the comments.
Yeah, let's have a really cool conversation about it and see if you can sway us. Let us know why we should have loved this book. I would love to hear that. All right. So I guess we are done with this conversation, Classy. What do you think?
Yes, please. Sorry.
Yes. Another book bites the dust. So we're done.
Good.
And yes, and we will be back again. I'm sure Classy will be back again for another book because, as I've already told her, I have lots of books.
Good. I'm ready to try something different. Oh, can I mention one more comment? I wouldn't recommend this book to people who love traditional romance. This is not your typical traditional romance. So if you're looking for a happy ending, this is not your book.
Steer clear.
Yes.
Okay, good advice. Good warning. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys, so that is it for us today. Again, please leave us comments. You can find us both on Twitter and Instagram. All of our links are below in the show notes, and we will catch you on the next Buddy Reads. And I'll catch you guys next week. Take care, everyone. Did you enjoy today's episode? If so, please head over to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave a positive 5-star review. It's a simple action that makes a big difference. You can also like this episode on your favorite podcast player or share it with your fellow bookworm friends on social media. Joining the Shelf Addiction Patreon family is another way to support us. For as little as $2 a month, you can help our team create even more amazing bookish content. If Patreon isn't your thing, Consider becoming a supporter on the Spreaker app for just $5 a month and gain access to exclusive audio-only content. You can find me everywhere, including Instagram, X, and TikTok under the handle Shelf Addiction. Join our book club of the same name on the book club's website and app, where we discuss all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. Thanks for tuning in.